What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Chicken Bucket Boys, powered by PTX Media and Unhinged Media. Always, I'm your host, Brian DeGennaro, along with the great Paraskevas Xenophontos. What's going on, Para?
I'm good, man. How about you?
Hanging in there. Still going a little stir crazy, but getting out a little bit more, so that's good.
Yeah, you got it, man.
So we have a little bit of news this week. There seems to be an agreement in principle of sorts between the MLB and the MLBPA. Although I don't know if you really call it an agreement. It's really the MLB is implementing a season whether the MLBPA likes it or not. Para, you want to give us some of the details on that?
So before we get into any details, I want to apologize to our viewers that last week
For that
actually,
goatee?
not the goatee, bro, but I came out and said that there wasn't going to be an MLB season, but here we are. I really don't consider it a season considering that MLB had to implement it, considering both sides couldn't even come to an agreement on any sorts. So I blame it on the owners. I blame it on Tony Clark. Didn't work out. But according to numerous sources, the MLBPA and the MLB players and the MLB Association basically came together to an agreement about the implement. July 1st, they agreed to go to training camp. And if you're a Yankees fan or a Mets fan, both teams are going to be playing in New York for spring training. And the season's set to start July 24th. It's going to be a 60-game season in 66 days. The only thing they haven't agreed on is the health and safety protocol, so that should be happening within the next couple of days. But going on with a lot of sports, there's a lot of athletes now coming out and testing positive for coronavirus. So it's basically, I don't know how to say it, but it might screw up all sports in the end.
There's still some hurdles. Hurdles.
Absolutely.
I mean, we still have the coronavirus. It's not gone. And the other thing is players have the option to sit out if they want. So, we could definitely see some big names sitting out, which is going to put a damper on the seasons.
So, like a lot of NBA stars have tested positive, like Nikola Jokic. He just tested positive yesterday. A big guy that was supposed to play in New York in August, Novak Djokovic, he tested positive. So, but with baseball side,
now?
It's not tennis. I'm just stating the facts. But going baseball
wise,
man,
it's not gone.
It's not. And even Fauci was on the Michael Kay show yesterday and said the sport that's going to be affected the most is the one with the most contact. So if you're really looking at it, it's going to be between football and basketball. And football has 90 guys playing during training camp. So we don't know how that's going to work out. But going forward, the Phillies have had a lot of cases in the last couple of weeks. So it'd be weird to see baseball, especially in July. But the way they'll approach it is the one I'm curious the most about.
Yeah, it's going to be weird for a lot of reasons. And we can get into this a little bit more, but one of the big issues that we're going to have is if a team catches the coronavirus, what's going to happen? If you lose 10, 15 guys for at least 2 weeks, well, I mean, what's going to happen to your season, especially if there's only 60 games? So, there's a whole lot of issues still. But I would guess, this is progress in a sense. So hopefully we get some baseball coming up.
And I'm pretty sure the health and safety protocols are if the guy catches it, he's going to have to go into quarantine. They're going to have to figure out who to bring up and everybody. But we don't really know the facts. But a lot of sports that are coming forward, that's going to be the thing. If they test positive for coronavirus, they have to quarantine for 14 days. I guess stay distant, but –
well, with contact tracing and everything too, still, people that come in contact with whoever tests positive also have to quarantine, don't they? So what happens if you've, played catch with the guy that tests positive? What are they going to do? These are questions that they have to answer. I don't have the answers for them now. But again, we'll see going forward. The other thing is, the fact that there's only 60 games, everyone was already complaining about there being 80 to 100 games and saying, oh, it's not a legitimate baseball season. And I think an argument could have been made at that time that, 80 to 100 games is enough time to figure out which teams are good and which teams are bad. If you think about it, that's basically, by the All-Star break, you have a pretty good sense of what teams are good and what teams are bad. But now that we're down to 60 games, does that change your view on the legitimacy of the season at all? What do you think?
To be honest with you, when this started off with the disagreements back in March, the legitimacy of this season was garbage to me. Like, it was all about money to both sides, honestly. They wanted to get their salaries, but the owners were losing money no matter what. But obviously, it's not a legitimate season if you really think about it. Am I happy that baseball's back? Of course, but if you really look down the wire, the Kansas City Royals, the Minnesota Twins, teams that normally you would predict that are going to have a bad season might have a chance of making the playoffs. And also the whole scheduling and division-wise thing, I don't know if they're going to go forward with those 3 divisions, 10 teams.
I haven't heard any of that recently.
So in those 60 games, they have to come up with a schedule which teams are going to – who's going to be who? Is it going to be AL versus AL only? Are they going to get rid of the DH? So there's, even though they agreed that there's going to be a baseball season, there's still a lot of details that they have to come forward with the next couple of weeks before July 1st. So it'll be interesting to see how it works.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up. The fact that there's only going to be 60 games, everyone seems to think that that is an even playing field, that everyone has the same disadvantage because everyone only plays 60 games. But it's really not the case if you think about it. Teams like the Yankees or the Dodgers, teams that were definitely going to get into the playoffs, definitely have a disadvantage now because there's the possibility that they go on a cold streak and then miss out on the playoffs or something like that. But pretty much everyone else benefits from it because if you have a team that's on the bubble, a team like the Mets or the Reds or something like, or even the Blue Jays this year with all those young players coming up, teams that are on the bubble, now you have a chance to just go on a run and make the playoffs. So they have a clear advantage in this situation. So I don't want to hear any of this. It's an even playing field. Everyone has the same disadvantage. It's not true. It's just not true.
Like going back to last season, don't you remember the Mets had a hot streak at the end of July into the beginning of September, and then they fell out of the playoff race? So
exactly,
this is anybody's game. No matter if you want to put an asterisk of whoever wins the championship, it's an even playing field in my opinion. Because
I did some math before. Okay. The Yankees had like a 64% winning percentage last year, right? And that was pretty good. They won the division and everything. In order to keep that winning percentage this year, they can only lose 22 games, right? So say you go on a run of 15-15, which is not unheard of. You know, normally a 15-15 run during the regular season, not a big deal. It's maybe a little bit of a slump. But now that's half your games, and then you would have to go 23-7 to finish the season. Like, I mean, it presents a unique challenge in that teams really cannot afford to get cold. Like, you have to be ready to go as soon as the season starts and keep your foot on that pedal until the end.
And going back, I know that the Yankees signed Garrett Cole and the rotation's somewhat better than it has in the last couple of years. But in the past 2 seasons, when it's come to after the All-Star break, the Yankees rotation hit a slump, and the Yankees always go on a cold streak right after the All-Star break leading into the beginning of August. So this is where I'm more scared about the Yankees the most, because right now the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Nationals, and the Astros are 4 projected teams to make the World Series out of all the teams. So what happens if one of those teams goes on a cold streak and it screws them out of a chance to making the playoffs? So it'll be interesting to play out. 60 games is 60 games, so –
yeah, there are going to be expanded playoffs, so there is that. But again, seeding comes into it. So, like, if the Yankees would have had the number 1 seed, if it were a long season, maybe they won't have the number 1 seed. Maybe they'll have a 4 seed or something like that. So it's something to think about, something to keep in mind. I still think that whoever wins the World Series this year, if there is a World Series, would be a legitimate winner. There's still plenty of hurdles to get through to get there, but you know, it's just something to think about, something to keep in mind.
Also, Brandon Cuddy brought up a good point on Twitter. He said that they should get rid of the 3-batter minimum to avoid injuries, especially
that's
leading
probably
into
a good idea. Yeah, at least for this year.
Because say if a reliever is struggling and he has to face the 3 batters minimum, it does lead a risk to a Tommy John surgery, especially in a shortened season. And if they're a free agent after the season, it screws them accordingly of getting their chances of making that perfect salary that they need for their future. So like we said, there's a lot of details they have to come forward with before officially starting on July 24th.
Oh yeah, but in a way, baseball is kind of back, so something to get excited about.
I mean, the way it came forward of how they're going to start is not the best.
No, not at all.
They're already looking like a bunch of losers, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just let's not get into it.
it's just frustration after frustration.
Yeah.
At least we could say we have 3 of the big sports coming back in July. But normally here on Chicken Bucket Boys, we play a game called Smash, Trash, or Pass. But me and Brian came up with a new game called Over or Under. So basically the rules of the game are I give a topic dealing with numbers. And Brian either says the same, over, or under. So are you ready, Brian?
Yeah, just to be clear, were these taken from actual sports books or these from the Book of Para?
These are from the Book of Para, the Greek
All
god.
Right.
All right. So here's the first one. Whether Aaron Judge is healthy enough to play for the 60 games of the season, will he hit over 25 home runs or 25 home runs exactly, or under 25 home runs?
I'm gonna go under. I feel like what was that a pace for? If it were 162 games, like 60, 65 homers, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's realistic. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not possible because honestly, if you go on a tear, he could hit 25 home runs. I would say Gary Sanchez could hit 25 home runs as well if he goes on a crazy tear. But I think that's a little bit much, so I'm gonna go under.
I mean, don't forget, Judge didn't miss more than 60 games last year. So
that's true.
As much as we love him, he's in my opinion, he's going to always be injury, no matter what point of the season. Like whenever he can go on a hot tear, it's always something that happens to him. Last year it happened with a broken wrist, and then a couple years back against the Red Sox, he hurt his wrist again, and then September he wasn't fully healthy because we found out later on in spring training that his ribcage. What happened?
Yeah, we don't even know if he's healthy now. So,
and we don't even know if he'll play. So it's a lot of questions we have. So my next one
is an easy under for me. Sorry, go to the next one.
Will Garrett Cole post a 2.5 ERA in his 4 or 5 starts he pitches? Will he have over 2.5 ERA or under or around the 2.5 range?
See, that's a better one because that's to do with averages. So that's a tough one. I'm gonna go over just because I've said from the beginning, players tend to struggle a bit when they come to New York, at least in the first year. I think there will be an adjustment. I don't think he's gonna struggle mightily, but 2.5 is pretty low. Did he even do that last year? Wasn't he like around 2.6 or something like that? And last year he was unbelievably good.
Garrett Cole, I think it was a 2.49 ERA, but let me double check.
Oh, was it that low?
I think it was around there, but he should have won easily. Last year was 2.5.
2.5. So he has to do. He would have to pitch better this year than he did last year. I'm gonna have to go over, especially with the shortened spring training and everything. I think it's gonna be tough. I expect to see him around 3.
He's been practicing at Yankee Stadium in the last couple of weeks. I think he had that first run. He was warming up in the bullpen. But my next question is, Stanton and Judge always take big hacks. Their strike zones are weak. But combined together in the 60 games, will they combine for more than 100 strikeouts? Over 100 or under 100?
Over 100 or under 100. See, if you say under 100, that means you're expecting each one of them to strike out less than once per game. So, especially with Stanton loves to put up those 5 strikeout games. I'm going to go over.
This goes out to our boss, Patrick Hennessy. Will Brett Gardner steal over 10 bases in 60 games? Over or under?
Will he get on base 10 times?
No, will he steal a base?
No, I know. I'm saying, will he get on base 10 times?
The real question is, will he even get playing time in 60 games?
That's true. Hicks is healthy. We're expecting them to see – well, Hicks is supposedly going to be healthy for the start of the season. We expect to see Stanton in left field, Judge and right. And then hopefully we'll get Miggy at DH. So I don't really see a spot for him to play all the time. 10 stolen bases is a decent amount. How many did he have last year, you know?
That's why we have fact checks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to say it's going to be hard for him to do 10. He doesn't like getting on base, so. But if he gets on base.
Last year he had 10.
Last year, then no, definitely going under. 100%.
His career high stolen bases was in 2011. He had 49.
Damn. That's pretty good. But also you have to realize the Yankees don't steal a lot of bases. Like I feel like Gardner will go if he senses that he's got a good shot, but they're not gonna like send him. They're not gonna do hit and runs and stuff like that. So
even when Jacoby Ellsbury was healthy, he was known for his speed. He didn't steal as much.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a risk factor because he's always hurt. All right, my next one. Like I mentioned before, the Astros, the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Nationals are 4 teams projected to make the World Series. Well, 2 out of those 2, who do you think has a better shot? I know this is an over-under question, but if you were to combine 2 of those 4 teams, which 2 teams do you think has a shot of making the World Series?
I'd say Yankees, Dodgers. I think that the Astros are going to struggle this year after everything that came out. And I think that the Yankees are going to be out for blood if they get them in the playoffs. And as far as the Dodgers go, I feel like the Dodgers are a much better team than the Nationals. Obviously, the Nationals won last year, but they did lose Rendon and some other pieces. I just feel like the Dodgers are a better team. So I feel like the Yankees and Astros are about on the same level as far as talent goes. I just feel like the Astros might struggle a little bit more than the Yankees this year.
All right. My final question. I'm a Yankees
fan. I can't go with the Astros.
My final question deals with the man Mike Trout.
Oh, let's hear it.
If he's healthy all 60 games, will he post a batting average over 320 or under 320?
Wow. 320? No, he'll be under that. His OBP will be over 400, but batting average over 320. What did he bat last year? Like 295, something like that. He was
hurt. He's always hurt. That's the sad thing.
He's not always hurt. He's
always dealing
MVPs.
with these minor.
Relax.
I know he's one of the best players to ever play the game. Last year he batted 291.
Yeah, exactly. He's not an average. He's not a batting average hitter. He'll bat 295 or so, but 320, man. Come on. Get that shit out of here.
Listen, man. Even in betting books, there's always these random.
Gary Sanchez has a better chance of batting 320 than Mike Trout. And I say that seriously because Gary can go on a run where he hits like 450 for 20 games. So, I mean, get out of here.
This is our first game of over and under.
That was a joke,
man.
By the way. Gary's not going to hit 320.
Hopefully that groin holds up.
Yeah, that's all I care. If he can get a full season in healthy or moderately healthy, that's the other problem with this, man. You go on one IL stint and you're out for a quarter of the season.
Don't forget
15 games is literally 25% of the season.
I know Stanton's always sometimes out with injuries, but the way they had so many injuries last year, first was Stanton. First he had a shoulder injury, then it went to a knee injury, then he had a calf injury. So with all these injuries,
there's a different medical staff this year. So hopefully, we can get past all that. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Stanton's not necessarily a guy that's known for being injured. I mean, I know he has injuries, but he's not like someone that's constantly injured. And same thing with most of the other guys. So
the funniest thing is, out of that entire Astros, whether he was dealing with an injury or not, whenever he was in the lineup, they won the game. Whenever they put Edwin Encarnacion at his DH, they always lost the game.
Who would you rather pitch to, Edwin Encarnacion or Giancarlo Stanton?
I mean, both are dangerous weapons when it comes to the
bat.
But Edwin Encarnacion laid an egg. But comparatively, I'm picking Giancarlo Stanton. Without a doubt, I'm picking Stanton.
That's what I mean. Like, if pitchers can't pitch around – I mean, pitchers will pitch around him to get to the other guys. So that means they can't pitch around the other guys. So that means that guys like Gleyber Torres are getting strikes constantly. Whereas when Edwin Encarnacion's in the lineup, they can pitch to him and everyone equally.
With Stanton, he's 6.
You always got to be careful of Stanton. That's the problem.
Yeah, Stanton's all muscle, and from his first year until last year, he's way more better approaching with the bat. He's not swinging at balls all the way in the dirt. He's not swinging up highs. He's basically taking his pitch, and if he finds the right one, he'll swing for it. He's not going to be like – his composure while batting is so much better than his first year as a Yankee.
He looked great in the playoffs last year. He really did.
Absolutely. He had, I think, more walks than hits.
Wow. I'll take it.
So that's all we have for episode 12 of the Chicken Bucket Boys podcast. Thank you to Brian for being a wonderful host, as he always is. Chicken Bucket Boys podcast is powered by PTX Media and Unhinged Media. You can follow us on Unhinged Media on YouTube, find us on Twitter, and we hope you guys stay safe, get ready for baseball, and have a good night.
Cheers.